What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Monster Bass channel. I want to talk to you about an option for the bluegill spawn that most people, I would say, overlook. Usually you're throwing big worms, lizards, tubes, all sorts of crazy wacky creature baits and stuff like that. But another great way to get some bites is actually going ultra light and finessey. And that's something that we love to do on our channel over on Aggressively Average Anglers. So if you would be so kind, you can consider subscribing to Monster Bass and going to check out our channel if you want to see more content like this. Here's what we're getting into today. I want to share with you my 5 favorite ultralight options when it comes to fishing those beds and that bluegill spawn. Let's get to it. All right, so first things first, you gotta have the right rigging for these options. So you need an ultralight rod and reel. One great option, or usually our go-to, would be the spinning setup, and that's gonna be for about 4 of these 5 options I share with you today. So 4 of the 5 rigs, they're gonna work perfectly on your ultralight rig. When I'm talking ultralight, I'm really talking about, well, obviously the power rating of it being ultralight, usually a little bit shorter in the rod as well, depending on where you like to fish. So I like a good 6-foot rod. That's a good option when you're ultralight fishing. So I can go wade, I can bank fish, I can fish from my boat, I can do everything. You're using ultralight line as well, typically in that 6 to 8 pound range if you're doing braid, and then you're gonna go to a lighter fluorocarbon leader. Because we're ultralight, we don't wanna be seen. We don't wanna spook the fish, so we're going even lighter on that fluoro with maybe a 4 or even a 2 pound test. So there's your spinning option, which, by the way, a couple of people from Aggressively Average Anglers are gonna be dropping an ultralight rod soon via Monster Bass. So if you want to stay tuned for that collaboration, we'll let you know when it drops. Another great option is going with BFS. So BFS, or the Bait Finesse System, is slightly newer in the American market, still picking up steam nice and slow because it is very specific to certain techniques. One of the rigs I want to share with you guys today is actually perfect for a BFS setup though. And if you're in the market for something like this, or you're wondering why would I do it, ultralight Texas rigging, Carolina rigging, chatterbaits in the lighter category, so 1/8 ounce or less, are all a lot of fun to fish on this, let alone micro crankbaits. So consider, looking into something like that if you want to try some different stuff, different techniques in that way. Okay, so let's get to the 5 baits that I want to talk about today. Number 1, off the top, if you're not throwing these things, you need to consider it. People think it's slow. It doesn't need to be. The drop shot rig. What I've got rigged up right here is what I would call more of my power finesse setup for this. If we're fishing ultralight, you're gonna have to downsize the weight for these. So we're talking more in the under 1/8 ounce range. So you might be like a 1/16 ounce. If I'm fishing these spawning spots, that is typically a bit shallower, so I can get away with that lighter weight. If it's a really windy day, I might switch up techniques, but this is just a great option even to start out with. What I've got rigged up here is actually the Mule Fishing Minnow, which gives me a nice durable, stretchy, floaty plastic, which is perfect for drop shot because it's gonna give you a nice horizontal presentation. So go with a finessey hook, something in the number 4, maybe even a number 6 range. I like using the full size Mule Minnow. This is a 3-inch. You can go smaller. They come in 2 different sizes as well. The mid-size could be a great option. You're gonna get multi-species on that for sure. And like I said, go with a lighter weight. From here, all the rest of the baits are more moving style. So instead of that drop shot where we can just dead stick it, let it float there and attract some fish, which we can also power finesse it, we can hop it around, we can do some moving with it. These are more cast and retrieve, and then maybe some other variations therein. Speaking of mule fishing, they also dropped a really cool spinnerbait option. This is probably gonna look kind of like a beetle spin. It's got upgraded premium parts on it though, so it is not your typical beetle spin. This is called the Bronco Blade from Mule Fishing. You got their little MF on there, look at that, that's sweet. So on this, you're just gonna rig your jig head and your plastic to the bottom part of this, and it works perfectly with any of your mule jigs. Here we have the workhorse jig, more appropriate for getting through and around cover. And then we've got the Donkey Tail Junior, a little micro paddle tail bait on there, which is really cool. This combo right here is great, comes in a ton of different colors. And what you're getting is you're getting that flash from the blade, you've got a little bit of action from the bait down here, and it is an absolute magnet for fish. So fishing this around cover, around those beds, those spawning fish, you're gonna get a lot of catches. And again, most of these right now that I'm talking about are best on that spinning setup. That one though, with a slightly higher weight, you could throw on that BFS if one were so inclined. So the next 2 rigs I would go with would be more maybe what you call your search baits, but something that I can get moving, a small paddle tail. We've got 2 different sizes here. This is the full size donkey tail. Again, still that stretchy buoyant plastic that we're we're rocking here with that donkey tail junior and that full-size donkey tail. And then we're going with an appropriate size jig head. This one is a 1/32 of an ounce. And then this one right here is a 3/32 of an ounce. So slightly upgraded in weight. I'm going with that bigger size here. That head matches perfectly to the plastic. That donkey tail full size, PBs have been caught on this bait, this specific setup right here. And this combo is really great for clear water conditions. Another great option that you could go with, if we have more stained waters, I might go with a black jig head in this chartreuse color. We call it the Batman combo. Or you could invert that and go with a chartreuse jig head and a black donkey tail. Another great option for those dirtier water conditions. This thing though will absolutely catch you some dang hogs this spring. So if you're not picking these up, if you're not fishing small paddle tails right now, it's something I want you definitely to consider. Again, maybe in the heavier weight, you could throw that on the BFS. Most of the time, we're fishing that on that ultralight spinning kit. Now we get to the downsize here, the micro setup. So 1/32 of an ounce, very light. Small paddle tail. Now you can definitely cast and just retrieve this sucker. You can also kind of yo-yo it back to the bank or the boat, however you're fishing, wherever you're fishing. So give it some nice little hops, little movements, or what I like to do, especially up shallow, is let it just hit the bottom, pause for a second, hop it up. If I can get this in and around those beds, I'm getting fish excited and they're gonna come attack this thing. Last but not least, we've got the small or downsized fluke. Throw a little baby fluke on that BFS setup. It's, first of all, a blast, a lot of fun. If you guys haven't thrown weightless flukes before, they work all year round. It doesn't matter what time of year it is that you're fishing. If you're fishing up shallow, weightless is phenomenal. So I've got here two options, one being the Zoom, so a little bit saltier, a little more dense, gonna sink a little bit faster. And then we've got the Z-Man Baby Z2. This thing is a phenomenal fluke option. It is a lot more floaty because you got that Elastec, so a little more porous plastic, a little stretchy, durable option. And it's gonna sit up a bit higher. Going to this side's fluke, it is very small. So super downsized option, about the size of my finger. And you're gonna wanna grab a little tiny baby EWG. So maybe a number 2, number 4 would be a great option. So we're out of the aughts, no 1/0, 2/0, 3/0 here. You're going down size. And again, we're just gonna rig it weightless. So I'm just gonna kind of Texas rig this thing here real quick. And what you end up with, it's this nice little compact package. Look at that thing. This thing gets bit. It's unbelievable. And then again, throwing this weightless on the BFS allows you to cover a ton of water. So get up in the pads, get up shallow, get up anywhere you're seeing those gill just going crazy, spawning up, doing whatever they're doing. There's gonna be bass nearby. And when you're twitching something in maybe this white color or a flashy color, especially if it's more stained to clearer water, you're gonna have a good time. If you're fishing dirtier water, just go with a darker color. There's plenty of options out there. As far as the Zoom, if you wanna go economical, this is just the Super Fluke Junior, which is actually a great size option. Check this out. So it's close, but just slightly longer than that Baby Z2. But again, you're still just fishing that kind of like downsized fluke option. Great option. Go hit the water with these things. You're gonna have a phenomenal time. All right, you guys, so those are 5 amazing options that you could be throwing on ultralight rigs, whether you have an ultralight spinning kit, or even, you know, you could get away with like a light spinning rig if you want, or the BFS. All of that would be super fun to fish. It's amazing when you actually get a fish on those things. The fight is a blast. You're in for the ride of your life. Especially on that light tackle, you're gonna have a blast. That's all I got for you guys today. Again, be sure to subscribe to the Monster Bass channel, and if you would so kindly go check out Aggressively Average Anglers, me and my buddy Paul, catching all sorts of fish sometimes and having a blast all the time. Love to see you there, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.